This session comes from our friends over at Progress Software, and presenting for Progress today are Jason Alberino, Principal Product Manager, and Greg Collins, Senior Product Marketing Manager. They have been with us before. They always do a superb job. So Jason and Greg, welcome to the EcoCast, and thanks for being here today. Right now, I am going to turn this over to you.
That's great. Thanks a lot. Hi everyone, welcome to the WhatsUp Gold portion of the webinar. So to introduce myself, my name is Greg Collins and I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for WhatsUp Gold. With today's topic being around monitoring and optimizing a hybrid cloud environment, we've decided to focus on modern monitoring and zero blackouts. So basically everything around high availability. The reason we chose this topic is because downtime isn't just inconvenient, it's costly, disruptive, and to be honest, it's often avoidable. So with hybrid and cloud connected environments, traditional failover strategies are no longer enough. So this webinar explores the strategic shift towards high availability by design and why systems administrators play a critical role in making it happen. I'm also joined by my colleague Jason Alberino, who's a Principal Product Manager here at WhatsUp Gold. Jason will join the webinar a little bit later to give a demo of WhatsUp Gold, as well as answer any questions that may have arisen throughout the session. So I will be giving an overview of what high availability is as a concept, why it's important or why you should care about it. I'll then go through how it works within the WhatsUp Gold product itself. I'm going to keep that fairly brief, as I'll then be passing the floor across to my colleague Jason, who'll give a demonstration of WhatsUp Gold followed by a Q&A session. So let's start with the basics. What is high availability? High availability refers to the ability of a system or service to remain operational and accessible even in the face of hardware failures, network issues, or unexpected spikes in demand. Unlike traditional failover, which reacts to downtime, high availability is proactive, built into the architecture from the ground up. It's mainly about redundancy, resilience, and real-time responsiveness. So I'm going to break down a few of the core principles of high availability. First up, we have the minimizing of downtime. So high availability helps to ensure that systems and services remain accessible even when parts of the infrastructure fail. It's designed to keep operations running smoothly during hardware failures, network disruptions, or unexpected demand spikes. This minimizes the risk of outages and helps to maintain business continuity. So now that we know what high availability is, the next question is, why is it so important? Well, nowadays users expect 24/7 access, and services span multiple environments, so even a few minutes of downtime can lead to disaster. I'm going to go over a few of the reasons why high availability is so important, starting with business continuity. So high availability ensures that mission critical systems like databases, applications, and network services remain operational even during failures. This is essential for maintaining productivity, enabling transactions, and supporting customer interactions. So for systems administrators, it means designing infrastructure that can withstand disruptions without halting operations. So whether that's a hardware fault or a cloud service hiccup, high availability keeps the business running smoothly. Next up is the lower operational risk. So infrastructure without high availability is vulnerable to single points of failure. A crashed server or a misconfigured switch can take down entire services. High availability reduces the risk by introducing redundancy, allowing systems to recover instantly and continue functioning. This not only protects against outages, but also reduces the pressure on IT teams during incidents, enabling faster recovery and fewer escalations. And then finally, better user experience. So users, whether internal staff or external customers, expect fast, reliable access to services. High availability helps deliver that by minimizing downtime and maintaining consistent performance. So for systems administrators, this translates to fewer support tickets, better SLA compliance, and a reputation for dependable infrastructure. It also builds trust in IT operations and reduces friction across departments. So where does WhatsUp Gold come into the equation? Well, high availability is now built into WhatsUp Gold's Enterprise and Enterprise Plus subscription licenses. This means that you no longer need to purchase a separate failover add-on. Instead, you get full high availability support as part of your license, allowing for active-active deployments, independent monitoring scopes across multiple instances. So from the enterprise license perspective, included now is support for 2 active instances. This allows for a high availability setup where one instance can take over if the other fails, ensuring continuous monitoring and uptime across your environment. The Enterprise Plus license now includes support for up to 4 active instances. This enables more advanced high availability configurations such as distributed monitoring across multiple sites or data centers. I suppose the question we often get is why this matters for systems administrators. Well, first up, there's no extra licensing complexity, so high availability is included by default. There's the ability for scalable monitoring, so easily expand coverage across environments. And then finally, independent scopes, so each instance can monitor its own set of devices, reducing risk and improving fault isolation. So now that I've gone over what high availability is, why you should care about it, and how it works within WhatsUp Gold, I'm now going to pass the floor across to Jason Alberino, who's going to give an overview of how high availability works within WhatsUp Gold. So over to you, Jason.
Hi everyone, it's Jason Alberino, Principal Product Manager here at Progress, and today I'm excited to talk about our HA by Design approach we're starting to take with WhatsUp Gold, and what it means for you and how valuable it is. So really what we mean by this is you can eliminate monitoring blackouts with the deployment that we're suggesting. We'll get more into the details as we go along. Before we talk about that, let me introduce myself a bit more first. I have over 20 years experience with WhatsUp Gold. I was a customer for 10 years, then started working for Ipswitch in 2013, and have been working on the product ever since in various scenarios as a pre-sales engineer, a technical consultant, and now product manager of WhatsUp Gold. But that means I've built thousands of integrations for the product, and I know quite a bit about the product in general in terms of its history, where it's come from, and what's near and dear. And we'll talk about some of these things as we go along. Okay, so without further ado, I really want to talk about, you see we have this blog post available today, and we were publishing this back in August, really talk about why the change, how our licensing is set up in a way where it's advantageous for the customer, and we really simplified this licensing as much as possible, while introducing WhatsUp Gold 360 to the mix really helps simplify some of what we're proposing here, and some deployment guidance, like how can you actually achieve HA with what we're describing, and how it's built for the future. So I'm not going to read through the entire blog post. Instead, I'm going to walk through some of why the change, and we'll go to the next one. So you'll see here I have an architecture diagram, and I have Site 1, and this is kind of our old application-based failover scenario. And in that scenario, you see I actually have 2 virtual machines to manage here. So now I have multiple responsibilities, not just 1 but 2, and really all that's happening is an application heartbeat between the scenes. The services can shift to the other system in the event of some form of failure, let's say. So let's say this virtual machine became unavailable for some reason. The other side will pick it up and take over. But there's a catch in this scenario, and that's what I'm going to underline here. We have a hypervisor cluster, and both of these virtual machines are deployed on the same hypervisor cluster. But what that means is, well, what about hypervisor HA, right? So in an actual customer scenario, I found that this is a typical deployment. They'll have a hypervisor cluster set up, and they were deploying the WhatsUp Gold virtual machines onto this highly available cluster already. So let's say they do have HA enabled on their cluster. In the event that, let's say, the host this virtual machine was on completely fell off the network, power was removed, something happened to the host, the hypervisor cluster would pick this up within 60 seconds and start that virtual machine on a different host that was available within that cluster. But all of that would happen, and it would recover before our application-based failover would kick in. That heartbeat was typically 5 minutes by default. Therefore, well, it was never failing over anything, especially automatically. But in that same scenario, you still have a shared database as well to worry about. So even if one virtual machine failed and you had a separate database system, well, hopefully your secondary can reach it. But what if your database is on the same cluster and this cluster fails? Or what if this database is elsewhere where it can't be reached otherwise? Or maybe all of these are contained within Site 1, and let's say Site 1 goes away. What's the whole purpose behind the failover in HA, right? you really have some goal in mind, likely disaster recovery or maybe quick recovery from outage scenarios like this. But in general, imagine Site 1 goes away. You've lost all your monitoring. Now you're monitoring nothing. That's where our new approach comes in, where we're suggesting you deploy multiple different WhatsUp Gold instances. So what that means is they're independently managed and operated. However, this is partly included with the licensing in Enterprise and Enterprise Plus. So in Enterprise, you get 2 activations of your license, and in Enterprise Plus, you get 4 activations of your license. So you can have multiple different WhatsUp Gold environments independently operating. And what that means is, well, imagine again, Site 1 goes away. Well, you don't care because Site 2, Site 3, and Site 4 are still monitoring, right? And this is what we mean by no monitoring blackouts. By separating and creating these multiple instances, you can almost guarantee that you'll never be in a completely flying blind scenario where you don't know what's going on because you have no monitoring available. But you also have a lot of flexibility in how you deploy this, and maybe you have certain networks that are more important than others, and maybe you want to monitor different networks from different places, and there's all sorts of scenarios you can think of, and that's where we'll get into some of the flexibility of this licensing and how simple it is. So back to being built for HA, we literally allow you fully operational instances of the software when you purchase this. So if you, for example, purchase Enterprise Plus 1000 license, you get the ability to deploy 4 Enterprise Plus 1000 device instances that each independently operates. And there's no pooling involved or anything along those lines. They are allowed to monitor up to 1,000 devices. The catch being is, well, you have to manage them independently, right? There is some management overhead, but you gain a lot more on top of that. And we're starting to attempt to help with potential management overhead with WhatsUp Gold 360, and I'll shift to talking about that for a little bit. So within WhatsUp Gold 360 today, you're able to do the internet connection monitoring, which comes as part of what we're calling the connector, and that really adds a layer of high availability on top of your monitoring. So in that scenario we were just talking about where Site 1 goes away, if I have WhatsUp Gold 360 connector deployed in this hypervisor cluster, what's happening in the background is we're doing a heartbeat back to that connector. And if we don't receive a heartbeat within a certain period of time, we can notify you from the cloud end of the issue. So even in the worst case scenario where you did lose all of your monitoring, WhatsUp Gold 360 would be able to alert you that something was going on, right? You need to investigate. As part of that internet connection monitoring, we did add the ability to look at the network verification statistics over time, as well as trace routes over time. And you'll see here 20 milliseconds and 14 milliseconds obviously aren't too terrible, but I modified these values in order to just show that it's very customizable for your environment, and you can point these at specific things. What I'll shift to talking about now is actually our centralized visibility beta. So yes, I can deploy all these different WhatsUp Gold servers, but how do I see all the information? Well, you have multiple different routes to success there. One is actually our distributed deployment scenario, which you get as part of Enterprise or Enterprise Plus. You're able to set up one system as a central server and then the others as remotes, and then you could sync certain information to a centralized dashboard that way. You'll see there's multiple different reports available, and you could get much more in detail. In my dashboard, I'm just looking at down monitors across the different systems and kind of just overall statuses. Well, I did say you can deploy these in different scenarios, right? So I went through and did some different deployment scenarios myself. We have 4 different WhatsUp Gold servers in my scenario, so mirroring what an Enterprise Plus license might give you. In my scenario, I chose to do only monitoring of the WhatsUp Gold servers from the second instance here, so it's quite literally only looking at the other WhatsUp Gold servers just in case. On this instance, I chose to do a little bit more than that. I'm doing some of the Hyper-V cluster I have set up and some additional network devices. And on this one, I'm doing, again, a little bit of a different mixture of the environments. And then back over to WhatsUp Gold 360. How do I see all of that information, right? Well, in our centralized visibility beta that you can join if you're a customer today, request access through our customer validation program, you'll see that you can actually sync information from all of these WhatsUp Gold systems to a centralized location and explore their data, get more information, unify reporting across all of those instances. So in my scenario, I have two different sites. One is in Alpharetta, the other is in my basement. And you'll see that we have a few different WhatsUp Gold servers in each, and I'm able to browse and get information about specific ones if I choose, all sites, specific sites, filter all of that information in many different ways. So lots of flexibility already built into the beta. What you're also getting is the ability to sync information. So all of the inventory reports that are available in WhatsUp Gold today will also sync to WhatsUp Gold 360, and you're able to report across many WhatsUp Gold servers, maybe some of the asset informations you're curious about. You'll see that there's a little report builder you get access to, as well as the ability to just access the report or export it as necessary. All right, so enough about WhatsUp Gold 360. I'll shift back over to the main topic here, which is really the deployment guidance. Like, how do I achieve HA with WhatsUp Gold today in this scenario? Well, you have multiple options. Three options are listed here. You have more than just these three options, but generally speaking, I've personally tested these specific paths and found them to be working with the product. So I've gone to great lengths to set up my own environment here with a Hyper-V cluster, a Proxmox cluster, a VMware cluster, and see what happens essentially. Does the HA work as expected? And the answer is yes. And that's what we're really recommending, is lean into your hypervisor based HA. We provide links in this blog post to different training articles about how to achieve it in the various ones. So there's one for Hyper-V, there's one for VMware, and there's one for Proxmox, which was my KVM flavor of choice here. All right, so with that out of the way, I guess we're almost ready to shift to questions, but let's first talk a little bit about what built for the future. What do we mean by that? Well, we showed you how it was resilient. Scalability, obviously, with multiple instances, you can scale the environment much greater. Typically, what you'll find is to get the environment this scalable, you're usually going to pay a lot of money in this market. But with WhatsUp Gold, you'll find that's not the case. It scales very well, even with a single instance, while also being able to scale well beyond that. So think 100,000 device plus environment if you spread across 4 WhatsUp Gold servers, as we described in the scenarios today. In terms of flexibility, you really get to choose like how you set up your HA in the background, or if you set up HA. Maybe you consider monitoring not that critical and you don't need HA, right? So there's a lot of flexibility in how you choose to deploy this, but also sorting by criticality, sorting by geography. Maybe certain teams get their own instances. There's many different scenarios, and every environment's going to be a little bit different in how you deploy. And in terms of security, this is really important. Well, segmenting these environments so they're not available over the internet is key. We would never recommend that you make your WhatsUp Gold servers directly available over the internet. Now, you might wonder, well, how would I then access the information? That's, again, where we hope WhatsUp Gold 360 can help solve that problem for you. So as part of WhatsUp Gold 360 and that connector deployment in the future, you'll be able to add a WhatsUp Gold server to that connector to sync its information back over here. And you'll see, again, that we already are syncing quite a bit of information, but we plan to lean into more into WhatsUp Gold 360 in the future. And obviously managing multiple instances becomes a lot easier over here. Okay, I think I talked about the topic enough. I will turn it over to questions, and glad to cover any topics related to anything we discussed today or anything WhatsUp Gold related.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, let me see. I cannot tell if I'm actually live or not right now. Can someone let me know because I do not see myself on stage. So, can any of you? There we go. All right, we are live now. That is so good. This is just one of those events, folks. Things are not as smooth as we would normally like it. Apologize for that, but we will get through it just fine. And right now, we are joined by Jason, who you just heard from, and who also wrote the blog post that we have linked to in the docs section. Jason is here for some fun Q&A. Jason, that was a great presentation. I love the demo. So are you ready for some questions?
Yes, Keith, thanks for having us once again and excited to answer some of these questions.
Oh, absolutely. Always love seeing what Progress Software is doing, what you are up to. So much innovation going on. Okay, so Elena has a question. How can we manage our on-prem environment and cloud platforms in a single pane of glass using WhatsUp Gold?
Great question. So WhatsUp Gold's capable of discovering anything with an IP address, but we're also tying directly into various different clouds through the API. So from a single console, you're able to discover everything on-prem as well as everything that's contained within your various clouds. But it's all API integration based. You can schedule these and choose what you do or do not monitor. WhatsUp Gold keeps track of everything in the background. So maybe you have some cloud systems you don't care about monitoring, you'll still have the knowledge of them within the discovery.
Ah, great. Good stuff. Hey, reminder, everyone, also that the poll question is up, like I had mentioned there in the chat. Please vote in it now and let Progress Software know what additional information you would like from them. There's also the link over in the docs section from Progress Software right to that blog that was referenced here earlier. Okay, here we go. Here's a great question. Let's see. Does WhatsUp Gold offer network monitoring between on-prem and cloud environments, specifically latency, packet loss, and throughput?
Yes, absolutely. That's all direct out of the box functionality. You don't have to do anything specific. Something we really pride ourselves on is our discovery being able to find all of these things and then automatically associate the proper monitoring to each type of device that it finds. Not only that, it's completely customizable. So let's say there were some other aspects you want to consider on specific device types. You can modify our discovery and say, well, if you find this specific type of system, also add these additional monitors. So very flexible and capable there.
And flexibility is always good to have. Okay, here we go. Another question for you, Jason. Really appreciate your time in the Q&A. What role does redundancy play in high availability by design, and how can it be optimized across a distributed environment?
Yeah, no, as mentioned during the presentation, we're not saying to just deploy these systems freely, right? We recommend deploying in a virtual environment that is highly available, but the more deployments that you make, the less likely you are to end up in that, oh no, I can't see anything scenario, right? Like you would have to lose many different sites or many different clusters at that same time to end up in a blackout scenario. And with our licensing, it's actually built in that you get 2 installations of the product or 4 installations of the product if you get the higher end. So we don't charge you extra for this. It's just, it gives you that deployment flexibility.
Which is great to know, because what is every IT pro tasked with every day? Do more with less, right? That's kind of the mantra. So that's good to hear. Okay, I think we have time for one more question here for you today, Jason. And that is, how do you ensure fault isolation, recovery, and multi-instance deployment without introducing complexity of latency?
Well, then this goes back to treating the deployments separately from one another. So if you're deploying on separate clusters and things like that, they don't have to talk to each other since both of them are active at that point in time. You saw in the scenario, I said, okay, well, this WhatsUp Gold server will just monitor my other WhatsUp Gold servers. But because of things like that, it's really down to where you deploy it, and it's up to you how you want to deploy it. Well, what I found a lot of customers are doing is they'll do a deployment specifically at their DR site, and then that system at the DR site only monitors the production WhatsUp Gold server. And then in the event of an outage at the production site, the DR site would notify them, and they could trigger automations in order to restore the production database.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Well, Jason, I think we're going to have to leave it there for right now. But thank you so much for giving us that fantastic overview of Progress Software and what we can do with WhatsUp Gold. It has been a pleasure to have you on the EcoCast today.
Thanks, Keith. Glad to join you again. Take care.
Absolutely.